welcome to Bears Banter. Man, Bears fall 38 to 13. Like Guy would say, they got the brakes beat off them.
It wasn't that close.
It was it wasn't even that close.
So, once again, this team came out flat. We had what 2 yards, 2 total yards in the first half. If I'm not mistaken, guy, you the stat guy, you can check that.
I think it was
I think
four.
we had
Two, four, whatever. Potato,
two,
potato.
4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
And the very first play that Swift got, he made more yards in one play.
This team, this team came out flat. And just like they did last week, they came out flat, but they was only down 16-0. This time they came out flat, and I believe they was down 24-0. You just can't continue to hope that your rookie quarterback is going to bring you back. And then in the second, as they start the second half, they started moving the ball. So I'm like, okay, why can't you move the ball in the first half like you do in the second half? And that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Mhm.
Even deeper, man, is the fact that something we were talking about. It's like Tremaine Edwards gets caught in a one-on-one with Kittle. Next time he goes in, then they go in and get him again. Then they see Sanborn go out. The dude's gonna do a running play, and he audibled out and got Sanborn. And then they turned around. There's 4 times we had some of the and it's the least coverable linebackers that we got. And they ran plays to him, and they were 4 for 4. They were all Kittle. Kittle had what 106 yards in the first quarter, something like that.
And it's coaching. I told a couple of the bros earlier today. They was like, Jay, what's wrong? I'm like, it's coaching. Now, you go into this game with your first string, San Francisco, with your first string running back out, your second string running back out. I was trying to remember the guy's name, Ivan Godario or
Terrible.
whatever his name was. But you went into this game still trying to play against the run when they had nobody to run the football. So
Right.
San Francisco coaching came out throwing the football. Juwan Jones, I think that's his name. Juwan Jenkins and Kittle, they was just consistently open down the field. You're playing the run when you don't have to. That's coaching. You have to scheme against the team that you know what their strength is going to be. Because their strength is not running the football because McCaffrey is out and the other guy's out too. But that's what you do. You playing against the run and you getting beat on the pass. That's coaching. That's coaching.
Jay, I tell you what, I'm going to agree with you. You have to coach the game that you're playing. So I understand Eric Washington as a new defensive coordinator deciding to, let's run. Let's make sure we show up and can stop the run. However, as soon as we get out there on that first series of play and they take 5 plays to go 70 yards on us, at that point, you need to start. You need to change whatever your standards are. You're like, you know what? They're not running. This is what we need to do. We need to go back into a zone or a cover 2 or whatever. It was clear that we didn't have to, bolster up any run defense. They were gashing us. I don't know if he knew this or not. Maybe he's a new coach. He only been around 10 years. That Greg Kittle guy is pretty good.
He's pretty good.
He was pretty wide open too.
He was pretty wide open too.
Man, that's sad, And the thing is that we preach and we talk about all the time is what we look for at halftime. We look at adjustments. They did make adjustments on offense, but on defense, it was like bad, man. I mean, you had some plays that it could have went either way, but neither here nor there. It was like you got a squad who's got running backs. Your stud running backs are out. And you stand up there stacking up like you anticipating a run, and it got to be so bad to whereas then they start running the ball, we couldn't stop them there.
Because now you've opened yourself up. You've opened yourself up for them to complete passes, and now you want to stop the run, but it's too late because they've already established the passing game.
Yeah,
Brock Purdy had what 100 and 120 yards passing in the first quarter,
First
or something
quarter.
like that.
No,
Yeah.
he only missed one pass.
Well,
Yeah,
guys,
this game remind me of when you in high school when the varsity is scrimmaging against the B team on the football.
mhm.
You know, when they had a big squads and you got an A team and a B team, they were scrimmaging against the B team on a freshman team. Actually, that's how bad this looked. I mean, they got every play they wanted offensively, and on the Bears offense, they just started off too slow in all these games, and you can't go to halftime with like either 2 yards or 4 yards of total offense. You just can't do that. You got to make adjustments earlier. And come on, Thomas Brown. Why are you going to halftime with all your timeouts too? Use them.
At this point, though, he really didn't have to because there was no scenario where he had to use a timeout because they wasn't on the field long enough. They weren't on the field
That's
long
true.
enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's this week and last week. It's just one of those things where it's like the offense in the first half did absolutely. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
I'll tell you what. My summary for today's game is that the offense started really slow, but the defense made up by being terrible.
They were they were absolutely terrible today. They were
Well,
That
absolutely
last
terrible.
play,
this was an example of what bad defense looks like. This reminded me of the Mel Turner defenses that the
Oh,
Bears
Tucker,
would
yeah.
get.
The Mel Tucker defense. Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
Tucker.
No sack.
No, he ain't even Tucker. He's Truck Turner.
But it
So
was the same.
he don't even get his
But
real name.
But you know, that was the same guy that said sacks don't really matter. You know, he said that.
They
He said
didn't to
sacks don't
him.
really matter.
well, he got sacked and it mattered. But here, look, here's another thing that you have to look at. I was looking at the DBs when I'm trying to remember the score. I think it was one of the second to the last scores that the 49ers made. And the guys were running, and you could just see guys like doing like this. And it's like, first thing I'm saying to myself, well, the whole pomp of circumstances, everybody was all happy and gleeful that Flus is gone and all that stuff. Way to go, guys, because guess what? Washington and Thomas right now, we don't get that same. I hate to say it, and it's not trying to trip, but I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Washington and Thomas ain't gonna get the same type of leeway that Flus got. This game right here basically tells you they not gonna be back next year.
But again, I'm gonna tell y'all. You
Mhm.
know, and I said it. I said it on the Facebook page. I said it in our group chat. You know, everybody was talking about how they wanted Flus gone and
Mhm.
all of that.
Hmm.
Yep.
Where the players gonna step up at? Where the players
Exactly.
gonna step up at? Where are your five blue star players?
Yep.
You're talking about Montez Sweat,
Yeah.
Yep.
DJ Moore,
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds, Jalen Johnson, and TJ Edwards. Out of those five players,
That was the only one.
Edwards is the only one
Hmm.
I can say
Yep.
that's
Yep.
earning his money.
And you know what?
Where y'all at? Y'all wanted
where's
the
it at?
coach gone. Y'all wanted the coach gone. So y'all was saying it was coaching. So now I'm
Mhm.
getting ready to hold the players accountable, and I don't see
Hold
no
on.
accountability right now.
Hold on. Hold on.
Here we go.
Okay.
This was one game. So this coach is going to have to have some time to get ramped up. He's a rookie coach, just like we were talking about before. We can't compare that to 3 seasons of Everflus. At the end of the day, no matter we lost today, but strangely enough, it didn't hurt as bad as the losses that we had and the ways that we lost when
Absolutely. I
Everflus
can
was in
agree with that.
charge.
I can
So
agree with that.
I'd,
But at
I'd
the same
rather just
time,
get blown out and know we had no chance. Okay. What you
Plank,
got?
you're exactly right, Plank. I appreciate that. But at the same time, I need some player accountability. I need some player accountability. I'm not even
Sure.
talking about coaching, Plank. I need some player accountability.
Yeah,
I
Jay,
agree.
Player
Jay,
accountability.
I agree with you. I would say this season, the Bears players, regardless of coaching, have believed their own hype. They got caught up
Yep.
in season hype. And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna point out some players, like you just pointed out. DJ, you dropping too many passes.
Way
Yep.
too
And I ain't saying that made a difference in wins and losses, but you're dropping too many
It
passes.
does.
Balls that are hitting you right in the hand early in games, you're dropping them.
Cole Komet.
You're dropping too many passes.
I can't hit you between the 8 and the 5. I can't hit you between the 8 and the 5, and you don't make the catch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to hold on to that. DeAndre Swift, too much stutter stepping and get up in there, bang that ball up. Even on the outside, he's shuffling his feet. Dude, sometimes some of the runs, I'm like, you could have probably had 5 more yards if you just go and run it versus getting that shuffling feet. But the Bears are not winning another game this year.
Nope.
I don't see it
happen. I said that.
Yeah.
I said that 5 weeks ago.
I hate to say it.
The Hail Mary broke this team. It broke them. It broke them. And people don't understand how deflating a loss like that is. When you come back and then you lose a game like that, that is deflating. And this team, as much as they gonna stay in it, like they did against these last 3 games, but they were in division games, they were in all of those games. They lost to the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings by 7 points total.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then
but
you come here and get whacked.
It's deflating. And this team is broke. It's broke, and they will not win another game this entire season.
You know what? But can I also say this too? A lot of times, some of the people who are not in the know, they looked at guys like or criticized like your boy Edelman. The reason why Edelman had a career, he wasn't the fastest dude, wasn't the strongest dude, but if you threw a ball to him, his leg was going to be broke, but he was going to catch it.
He's going to catch it.
You can't be a stud and have balls just like, and I can understand if it was a bad throw. That DJ, just like that other week where I was talking about when I knew what the jig was up, when Williams threw the ball and he's right here and it hits him right in the chest and it bounces. It's like, it's one thing, even if I don't even give grace to rookies, but you can kind of see it in a rookie. And a guy who's basically had 1,000-yard seasons, this is the second time in 2 games where he's had balls that he could catch and they're there. And I'm like, okay, are you guys trying to sabotage the situation? Or just like Jay say, I believe that Hail Mary broke us as well. But by the same token, you should have had some pride. Now you got this guy you trying to play, even though you get beat if you play hard. But you look at Edmonds, even Edmonds, he got burned a couple times, but that wasn't his fault because everybody know the personnel. Edmonds ain't fast enough to cover Kittle. Why is it that you get him in a situation this one time you get him, it's like, okay, then you turn around and do it again. Then you bring Sanborn in and have them audible out of a run to pass to him. You got the 2 slowest linebackers on coverage with George Kittle. And George Kittle eating up cornerbacks and safeties with 4.4 speed. So what do you think they're going to do? So there's no adjustments. Guys are running out there like, they have like, it's like, how would you say, outside of Rome, which is a great catch. They were pedestrian.
Hey, guy, I would say those two guys, at least they looked like they was guarding Kittle.
Yeah, exactly. I give him credit.
There was actually nobody on the frame with him. I mean, he was running cross routes in the middle of the field where nobody literally was guarding him. It was only when they checked out of play where at least Sanborn was in the screen and Edwards was in the screen. The rest of the plays, they were by themselves. And the Bears are not playing. They're the old Detroit Lions. The Bears don't even have a good defense at this point. When I'm looking at it before this game, the Bears defense is ranked 22. So after this game, they're probably going to be around 25. That's not a good defense. You've had some good moments this year, but you're not a good defense. So the Bears have no identity because there's nothing they can hang their hat on. They're just okay on offense. They're not good on defense. They're not even good on special teams. There's nothing. They got outplayed today. They got outcoached today, and they got out hustled.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna disagree with you on a couple points there, Guy. First of all, Tremaine Edmonds is probably the best suited linebacker to try to stick Kittle. He's actually faster than Kittle. So if you're looking at Tremaine Edwards, he runs a 40 and 4.5, maybe high 4.4s. But here's the problem I have with Tremaine Edmonds. He doesn't seem to have any heart. So not only does he make career decisions on run defense, you don't see him sticking his head in there. And he's always He's the guy that
Yep.
always flashes in at the end of the play to look like he was going to
Yep.
make the tackle versus making the tackle. So it's one thing that if he's bad against run defense, you get that. They got him because he was a pass defense specialist. However, they keep talking about how hard it is to get over his 6'5" reach. Didn't look hard at all to me.
I have to disagree with you, Plank. He runs a 4.54, and that's correct. But Kittle runs a 4.52. Now this being funny, but it's true. But seriously, but you're right. But it's like, guys, I will give Sanborn credit. We know Sanborn ain't fast, but he was
He's a
chucking
try-hard
it.
guy.
But
He's a try-hard guy.
but with the way the play is structured, it's almost like a sort of like a chess thing. It's almost like whatever the corner does with this guy, whatever the safety does with this guy dictates what happens. And sometimes the receiver can change the situation and forces him into the situation where he has to cover. Edmonds does have it, but I'm looking at Sanborn. Sanborn doing like this, but there's nothing he can do. But if I'm a coach and I'm seeing this, it's like one time I can get it, but it was 4 times where the same play, they did the same thing. It's almost like you saying, I will say, it's almost like some guys are just like, okay, you know what? We're going to be in Cabo in January. I want you to go get the gazebo. I want you to go up there and get us some of that, that good Bacardi or whatever it is. And
but that's coaching.
I like
that's coaching.
All 22 view of it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the Bears played a lot of cover 1 today. I will have to see the whole 22 to see, but I think this is why you got in those situations where Sanborn is chasing a play because you're in cover 1 because you're trying to stop the run. Right, and at some point, as a defensive coordinator, why are you playing cover 1 on a pass play? I mean, to me, he's calling the defense like he has no clue. I'm sorry,
he doesn't.
Ready for today. I'm sorry, Frat, you was not ready for today's game.
Hey, bro, you need to do better.
Why are you trying to stop the run when it's not there?
Yeah. But we got to give him credit though.
Why are you trying to stop the run that's not there?
We got to give him credit though.
They decimated. Why are you trying to stop a run that's not there? They're going to throw the ball on you all day long, which is what they did.
Hey,
he passed for what? He passed for what? 320 plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was more than that.
They weren't even trying to run. They ran the ball anytime they felt that they needed to, not because they had to.
Out of necessity, and it was like.
Yeah. Here's my main problem with our pass defense today. So, okay, we were geared up to stop the run, which we didn't. But anytime you playing pass defense and there's only one jersey color in the screen, that's horrible. You're not even seeing them running down the field by themselves, wide open. I'm like, is this Jay playing against a 65-year-old? Like, what is going on, man? This is ridiculous. I can't even believe that we tried to pass that off as the Bears being ready. I'm not going to, I'm never going to say that the Bears are going to lose 4 straight games. That's just how I'm made. I'm trying to cheer for my team and I'm trying to wield them to be better, but it's not looking good. So I have to agree with you at a certain level.
Hey, that's what, 7 straight? That's 7 straight?
Yeah, this is 7 straight.
And they got 4 more? So we talk about an 11-game losing streak. The Bears will not win another game this season.
I'm gonna tell y'all something that's really sad, and I don't even believe I'm saying this out my mouth, but it's true and true. I was watching that Saints Giants game. The Giants are 2-11 or something, 2 and something, whatever. They actually could beat the Bears, and it would be no problem.
They were playing against the Saints. Let's not annoy these guys.
Because you know why the Bears are the first team in the history of the NFL to run a cover 1 and disguise it from themselves as a cover 0, and they was the only ones that was fooled.
They was in cover 0. You're right, they was in cover 0 a lot as well.
But they was cover 1. No, but they were cover 1. But the way they played like the cover 1 was the cover 0 because the guy that was back there wouldn't cover nobody.
Well, let's keep in mind that San Francisco is a lot better than they've been playing this year. Yeah. Last year, San Francisco played in the Super Bowl. So it's not like we played the worst team in the world.
Yeah,
we look bad because we were bad today.
Yeah, Frank. And I hear you. I hear you. I love you, bro. But that's still so sad. That's so sad talking about the Bears.
Hey, first of all, I don't have a soft side. I'm all.
Oh, he
Jeff
don't.
Friend was on the
Damn.
Jeff Friend was on the three. They was on a 3-game losing streak. Both of these teams came in today on like a 9-game losing streak. Had nobody won.
Yeah.
And for them to be decimated with the injuries, I mean Trent Williams, they had so many injuries. They whole starting left side of the offensive line was out today.
Yeah, you didn't need them. It's all right.
Obviously.
Did we get any sacks?
Yeah, Edwards got one. Edwards got a sack.
Edwards got one.
Edwards got a sack. Let's see. It was one sack. Edwards got he got the only. Yep, he got the only sack.
Yeah,
Wow.
Sweat missed 1 or 2 sacks. I mean, they really was not really getting pressure where you felt that they was going to sack anybody other than one time when Sweat grabbed him and he still got out of it. I mean, Brock Purdy went 20 or 25 today for about 325 yards with a quarterback rating about 155. Who's right there almost at perfect because 154 is perfect, right? Or somewhere around there.
158.
I think.
Okay,
Like
so he had about 145 if I remember right.
Right.
So he missed 5 passes. Two of the pass, one pass was knocked down right by Edwards. Another pass hit the guy in the back. The other 3, he probably just threw it away.
He just overthrew a wide open wide receiver. So,
other than that, he would have had a perfect day.
But we could grade if we grade on the curve. He had a perfect day. Because man, it was
man. Caleb Williams got sacked 7 times today.
That's sad. That's sad.
Most of the time, that was by whoever our offensive tackle is. That was ridiculous, man. The defensive end pushed him back into the quarterback and just reached over and sacked him.
And you know what, I'm calling out Mark 10. I want him to get on this show so bad. Because he put up.
He ain't never gonna come on the show.
He put up these grades where he was talking about, no pressures and PFF. People that use the PFF grade, to me, my personal opinion, no knock against everybody, but my personal opinion, PFF grades don't tell the whole story. And for them to talk about he ain't gave up no pressures, and I watched this dude let his man walk him. He walked him into the quarterback, and while he was still engaged, he sacked Caleb Williams.
You're talking about Braxton Jones, right?
Yes.
Yeah. God.
Braxton Jones, man, walked him into the backfield.
Several times.
Still engaged. And made a sack. Seven sacks today. If I'm not mistaken, that's 59 sacks on this season.
Yeah, he's
for the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, that's disrespectful. That's like somebody coming up to your girl at the club and buying her a drink with you sitting next to her.
And all you doing is hi there.
I'm like, hey.
That's bad.
This is what makes it so bad with Braxton Jones, like what you just described. Braxton Jones, he's not like he's a tackle that actually just get beat because he can't get out of his stance. He actually gets pushed back. So he's actually in front of his man, trying to block him. He just not
strong enough. Exactly.
He ain't been in the weight room.
Now we've been talking about this for 2 and a
3
half
years.
3 years of him not being strong enough. At some point, when are you going to be strong enough to at least keep a guy in front of you from pushing you back? I mean, this guy constantly is doing a moonwalk when he's blocking.
The moonwalk.
And the funny part, you know what's sad?
He's doing the Michael Jackson.
And the thing is, I call myself making a joke. I'm like, hey, y'all can stop Debo. Y'all just give out a defensive backs like purses. And while he running a route, he'll stop and turn around and tell you what type of skirt to go with it. It ain't so funny because they really didn't even need Debo today. Debo was out there posing. He was out there voguing. But it's like it's one of the things, just like I said when I came on the podcast, you know, people will look at us and like they expect us to be angry and mad. In a game like this, you can't even be mad. It's just whatever. Like
today.
My boy, I want to give a shout out to my noble out there, brother Shannon Callahan. I'm trying to get him on the show because he'd love to come on and give some intel. He is a Chicago fan, but he's a Green Bay fan. and he was talking trash about the Bears, and on his post, I put, I got nothing because I don't.
Mm.
Yeah, Jason, you're right. Try
Jason
hard
has a
guys.
point.
Try hard guys. Try hard guys.
Over
Just like
legitimate
good guys,
talent.
they finish last.
So true,
They finish
man.
last.
Because
They
you can
finish
live
good.
with a guy who
Try hard
hustling.
guys live last.
You can deal
Yeah.
with. You can pull for a guy to hustle because guess what? One day it's gonna be a play that you really need to make, and that hustle guy gonna make it. You
Well,
know,
he
and
probably lacks the talent to make it consistently, but
right.
you can't count on hustle always getting you there either. You actually need some talent and some ability. Otherwise, you have a whole lot of corners that are 155 pounds and run a 40 and 4.9 in the NFL, and you don't see that.
And
Yeah.
can I say something other than this guy, Gino Barbini said, I hate to say it, but I think Caleb is starting to look like upside of Geno Smith. What I
You can't
want to
put that on
explain to
Caleb.
you, no, but what I want to explain to him is this. Look at instances where you've had great quarterbacks. We're going to take Caleb out the picture. You had instances where you had credible quarterbacks that got sacked, that did as bad, if not worse. The point is, you could take a prime Tom Brady right now and put him behind that offensive line. He gonna have some issues. He ain't gonna be the Tom Brady that he was. It's not that he's not great, and part of it is on Caleb that he's holding the ball too long. But look at this, Caleb, Justin, Mitch. What do you notice about them? Them dudes was like up there in the league in sacks. It's got to tell you it's either you could say it could be talent, but when it happens one, maybe sort of two times, it's okay. But when you get a succession of three quarterbacks and even their backups going through the same thing, you gotta start looking at something else too. So, but
But
it's
I'll
a
take
good point
offense,
that he made, though. I'll give him credit for that.
and that's fine. But I'll take offense of anybody trying to compare a rookie to a veteran.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's just my stance.
right.
No disrespect or anything like that.
Hmm.
But even when people try to, I ain't gonna even say it. But I ain't gonna even say it. I'll take offense to people comparing a rookie to a veteran that's been in the league for some years.
Yeah.
Hey, Bernard, Jay still need that glove this week too, man. So
Hey man, we got to, that's what we need. We need to get Thanos, but yeah. But
I'm good.
he's psychotic cool. He's angry, but he's so composed.
I'm good.
But
I'm
you
yeah,
know
good.
what?
Right.
You
You
be the
right, guy.
type of guy you
he's
see
You right, guy.
articulate angry.
this Jay
You
right
right,
here.
guy.
This Jay right here be standing next to somebody saying, "I can't take it. I'm gonna kill myself." Jay will give him a bottle of water and say, "Here, just take the top off and just
Yeah,
chill.
yeah.
I'll stand and
I'm
call
good.
somebody for you."
I'm
You know
good.
what? You know what?
Okay.
I'm good.
Jason made a comment earlier. I agree
Uh-huh.
with he said polls like try hard guys.
Yep.
You,
Yep.
you, you know that has been the case, and you know what? I'm being critical of polls here and there. Right now, polls has to show me that he's going to be a good GM and not just a scout.
Yeah.
Now he's
Yeah.
made some good scouting moves, right? Scouting moves to me is when you draft somebody, right? You trade somebody, right? You got pro scouting and you got college scouting.
Mm-hmm.
His college scouting been good. His pro scouting
Isn't
has
that
not so good, right? His
outside
pro
of Sweat?
scouting would be other than Sweat, right? His
Yeah.
the other one would be Chase Claypool. That's your pro scouting.
What
Uh,
Chase said, nah.
I'm trying to think of some other people they bring. Right now, I'm gonna say DeAndre Swift as your primary running back is not a great pro scouting move. He's a nice piece, but he's not a dominant running back. He doesn't. He's the guy that could get you those swing yards, swing passes,
Hmm.
runs on a corner. But he's not a guy like they're trying to use today. He's not a guy that you're gonna get a ball 25 times and pound it inside. He's not that. So you need somebody on this team to do that. So also to me, a GM is getting coaches, right? Because it's
Hmm.
more to just getting players, it's the coaches. How are your coaches evaluating that? But that does not mean saying Coach is not doing a good job. I still think in that department he has did a good job, but he hasn't did a great job. He
Right.
has to put together a team. What he's assembled right now is pieces.
And
Yeah.
see this situation that the Bears are in now makes it so much difficult to realize because now you start to go back to Ryan Poles, but it goes back to the the keeping of Eberflus, who hired
Mhm.
Shane Waldron, who brought in Gerald Everett, who didn't want to use Khalil Herbert, who was averaging 5.5 yards a carry
Mhm.
last season. It's a snowball effect, and you have to realize that because if Shane Waldron wasn't hired, would Joe ever be here making the money that he's making with absolutely no contribution? Khalil Herbert, who averaged 5.5 yards a carry last year, would he be an effective running back for this team to go along with a DeAndre Swift, who's only
Mhm.
running outside? He's not trying to have no parts of
Mhm.
inside the tackles.
Mhm.
So it's a snowball effect. It's a snowball effect. But again, how do we evaluate this? Because, like I said last year, when they decided that they were going to draft Caleb Williams, they should have brought in a head coach,
Mhm.
and the McCaskies did not allow
Mhm.
Brian Poles to fire this coach that's
Mhm.
making $535,000 a month for the
Wow.
next 2 years
Wow.
because he was on their payroll.
That's some big
It's,
money for your butt too.
it's bigger levels to this. It's bigger
Yeah,
levels to this.
but you
I
know
agree
what?
with
And that's
you.
So,
what and that's what
go ahead.
Bears fans need
Go
to understand.
I
ahead.
agree with
And
you, Jay.
I'm real quick. I'm sorry, Plank, real quick. And I'm not saying, everybody like the McCaskey need to sell the team. I'm not even saying they need to sell the team. They just need to let go of what they're trying to do. If you're gonna hire somebody like Kevin Warren and somebody like Ryan Poles, let them run the football operation. Keep their mouth closed and let them do what you hired them to do. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Hey, Jay, I agree with you. 90% of the problems that the Bears are having, you still see these consistencies, and these problems are based on the McCaskies. Ryan Poles got hired as the GM a couple years ago. Then 2 days later, all of a sudden, he gets presented these options. Hey, do you want
Presented. I
do you
love it.
want
I
the
love that.
ugly
I
fat
love that.
girl, or
I
do you
love that.
want the real dumb slow
I
girl?
love that.
Are we
I
going
love
Dutch
that.
on the date?
Presented.
Right.
With the girl with the question you
Presented.
asked, are we going Dutch or
Well,
C-SPAN?
here's my problem with it. So the Bears are real big on HR and them being a good franchise and accountability and all of that, and they have none of that because they let Ryan Poles take the heat for Everflus and not firing him, and he could have fired him. Ryan Poles didn't have the authority to get rid of Everflus. That was
Mhm.
clear. He wanted to get rid of him
Yeah.
last year because he was coming with Caleb Williams and he wanted to get his own a new
New coat. Yeah.
offensive coach.
Mhm.
The McCaskey said no. We want to have Everflus here because he kept the team together. So from an organizational standpoint, the Bears keep getting F's and F's and F's. This is the McCaskey, so it doesn't matter if we had Matt Nagy. You know who Matt Nagy is? It's 2017 Ben Johnson. So y'all might want to we might want to watch a little bit how much we try to give away the field and the team to Ben Johnson because
Oh,
we don't know if he's a head coach material either.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
I was
there's
going.
a lot of
I
issues
was going
going
to
on there.
address. I was
Go
going to
ahead.
address Jerry Collar. He said Nate
Hey
Davis,
Jerry.
Lucas Patrick. He cut the fullback and young three tight ends. Wasted the third round and fourth round pick on Tyler Scott, Valus, Taylor
Jones.
the punter, and Rashawn Johnson are all pro. Well, I'm gonna tell you,
Uh, those are good players.
I like
Mm.
Taylor's a
Tyler
good
Scott.
player, and
I
I
wouldn't,
Rashawn
like
I
Johnson's
Tyler.
a good
wouldn't
player.
have drafted him in the fourth round. I wouldn't have. But I like Tyler Scott. I think it's not showing this year. It's kind of showing, but it's not. But that's gonna be a piece. Venus Jones, I was against. I was totally against that. Rashawn Johnson,
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
think, is a valuable part of this offense when he's healthy and given, and they actually allow him to run the football.
Right.
But Poles, it's so hard. It's so hard right now to evaluate him. Even though it's been 3 years, it's so hard to evaluate him because he's been hamstrung by the coach that we just fired. God, I don't know what to say. I really don't.
What
really
up,
don't.
Square? That's my guy. That's our 83 brother.
Jerry.
My Square Jerry. But you know what? Here's another thing. This is why a lot of us that watch a lot of football would prefer to have an offensive minded coach. An offensive minded coach or a coach, and I say or because there's a few of them who are defensive coaches who understand how to multi-manage. That is the defense and the offense, but it's few and far beyond. An offensive minded coach would take Swift and know he's an elusive back, and he would keep him here, and they would do like that, like with Tampa, like with Dungy. Although Dungy's not an offensive minded coach, how many times did you see your boy Mike Allstott run on the outside? They had him run straight through the middle, boom, boom, boom. If you got a guy like Swift, Swift is gonna do one or two things. He may once in a while come through the middle and make it, but 9 times out of 10. He a little light in the backside, they're gonna drop him, or if not that, or they're gonna stop him. Get him on the outside, and like what Bernard was talking about too. The thing is, you get on the outside, go. Don't do this. He's just doing this, and you letting all these defensive guys come up. But an offensive-minded coach understands offense. To me, it just looks like we got pieces out there. It's almost like a person that's got I'm not saying we out of pieces, but pieces like putting them in a jigsaw puzzle, and they got the right piece, but they put it in the wrong place.
I don't believe, me personally, I don't believe in an offensive minded or defensive minded. I don't believe in that.
Good point.
I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I need a head coach.
Yep.
Period. I need a head coach. Everybody talk about Ben Johnson. Okay, Ben Johnson is a great offensive coordinator, but is he a head coach?
That's a great point.
Rex Ryan was a great defensive coordinator. He was a bad head coach.
Yep.
His daddy was a great. Everybody knows in Chicago.
He's a defensive guru,
He was a defensive guru, but he was a bad head coach. Vic Fangio was a great defensive coordinator. He still is a great defensive coordinator. He was the Denver Broncos head coach.
Didn't Lawrence Taylor doggone make a whole career highlight reel off the Philadelphia Eagles when he was there? It was like I'm looking up here like, oh my God, you right.
But anyway, okay, y'all, let's get to the game because we really talked and have not really talked about the game.
Before we say that,
though, not really a lot to talk about.
I wanted to throw this out here. We trying to beat up on Swift, and this guy has been a 1,000-yard back with 2 different teams.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as much as we saying he's not doing this, we didn't bring the offensive line and the infrastructure that Philadelphia had or that the Lions had.
It's scheme and coaching play.
Right.
No, it's still the McCaskey song.
But look, check this out, Frank.
And my point of him is not that he's a bad back. I think he's effective to what you use him for. He's just not a primary back, which is probably why neither team actually gave him a contract.
I agree.
The Eagles went with Saquon Barkley, and Detroit drafted Gibbs and traded and signed Montgomery to replace him. So I know he's a little bit. He's like around. I don't know how many yards he had today, but coming in today's game, he had about 700 yards rushing. I think it was 700 even. But I'm just saying, when you get into a game where you just need to pound the ball, they really don't have a running back. And that's why, for the life of me, I don't understand what was this deal with Herbert this year.
Because they ain't got the line to do it either, though.
They don't have the line, but you know what I'm saying? But when you can't block, you got to at least try to run. Roshan has too many. He missed too many games for concussions. He missed games last year for concussions. He'd have missed games this year for concussions. And also, what about Roshan is great on short yardage, but he does not have. He leans forward too much to be a good runner in the open field because he's going to fall. He's going to fall because he's leaning too far forward. They needed
Khalil Herbert.
His running style in college.
But Khalil Herbert,
I study running backs. They needed to correct his running style in college because his lean is so much. He never has great balance once he gets in the open field.
He's going to tackle himself. Yeah,
but you had Khalil Herbert.
Yardage back. That's his effectiveness. So you really don't have anybody. Let's go back to what you call it, Patrick Lucas Patrick. Terrible signing.
Horrible.
Still at this point, I would almost guarantee that the majority of Caleb's sacks, other than the one where he just take the sack, because sometimes he don't want to throw it away. He don't want to mess up his stacks with a bunch of throwaways because it's just the reality of it. You don't want to turn it over, and you don't want to have a bunch of throwaways, right? Because you leave a game with 47% completion. Who wants to have that on their record? So I think sometimes he just takes some of them sacks, but most of his sacks either is from Braxton Jones' size or is an A-gap sack. Quarterbacks are not supposed
up
to
the center. You're right.
They're not supposed to be getting sacked constantly by the defensive tackle. Most of the time, you're sacked by defensive ends or somebody blitzing. He's getting sacked by defensive tackles constantly.
If
it ain't Warren Sapp, you're right.
Which is the interior. Which is the interior offensive line, which is what's bad.
Yeah.
Braxton Jones played a bad game today, but you still have to look at the Bears offensive line. Most of their pressure comes from Shelton. Oh my God! Did y'all see Shelton today?
Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. Stealing money.
He not. He's stealing money, but it ain't a lot. Thank God.
Good.
But it's the interior of our offensive line that's bad, which we hasn't addressed. Kevin Jenkins I still like Kevin Jenkins because he's a dog. He's a dog.
He's a chihuahua right now.
He's a chihuahua, but he can't stay on the field. He can't stay on the field because he's injured a lot. But he's a dog. But our center and our right guard position is bad. And that's what they need to show up. Poles lied and said that this team was ready.
What else are you supposed to say?
It all depends on if you believe the lie or not.
Did we say last year we was worried about a guy with two first names?
We talked about how this team was on Hard Knocks and everybody was all in, and now we see where we at. We 4-9. We started off 4-2. And now we are 4-9.
That's because we have historically epic failures made by the head coach.
And like I said, the Hail Mary in Washington broke us. And I can't see no comeback from that. But to go into today's game, they came out flat in the first half. I ain't gonna say the first quarter, first half. They came out flat. Just like they did last week. And Thomas Brown, you got a lot on your plate, bro. You got a lot on your plate. You went from passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator to interim coach. You got a lot on your plate. It's a lot. And I understand that. But y'all came out flat today like y'all wasn't ready to play. And, if we're going to go into some grades right now, if I got to give a grade to the offense, I give them a D. Because y'all came out flat, big time.
Yeah. I just saw a comment about bringing Sanders on. You know what? Believe it or not,
he take more sacks than anybody.
Yeah. The Bears are not going to have the worst record. That's the sad part, but they're not going to have the worst record.
The rate is 2-10.
The rate, correct.
2-11 or something like that.
Yeah.
But isn't it a sad thing when we got to compare ourselves to a level of mediocrity? We just it's like Plank would always say, it's a whole thing of midgets, but we just the tallest midget.
The tallest midget in the circus. That's always been my thing. That's always been my thing. I'm the tallest midget in the circus.
That's
I'm the tallest midget in the circus. And that absolutely does nothing for me. I'm the tallest midget in the circus.
Hey, can we
That
give a
does
shout
nothing.
out to Mr. Tribe of Judah because his boy got in and was 1-1 for 6 yards today. Yay!
Ooh.
There
Tyson
you go.
Benson.
Well, I'll
There you
tell you
go.
one thing, Jay. I agree that the Commanders game was definitely a blow, but the Bears picked themselves up and they were able to go out there and play hard against the Packers. We ended up losing with a block field goal. Okay. Then against the Lions, we ended up losing because we
I
let the
love you,
time
Frank.
run out.
I love
Then
you,
against
Frank.
the Vikings, we
I
ended
love
up
you, Frank.
losing. Well, my point is,
I
if the
love you,
team
Frank.
truly gave up, then those games would not have been that close. They would have
And
looked
you know
like
what?
today's game.
Right.
It's not about giving up. It's about the L in the column. I understand that. And you're
Mhm.
exactly right, Frank. We lost 3 division games in the last 3
By
weeks
this
prior to today.
much.
By 7
Right.
points. By
Right.
7 points. 3 games, 7 points. Where everybody felt like we didn't have a chance. We didn't have a chance. Those 3 games could have changed the way we're talking about this team today. One play. We talk about one play. If you go back and look at the Vikings, the Lions, and the Green Bay game, we're talking about one play.
Mhm.
One play could have changed the entire scenario. But it
I
didn't
agree.
happen. It didn't happen. So, as much as I love you, Frank, and I think about how we want to be on that, the bottom line is this team is on a 7-game losing streak, and I don't
Right.
see them winning another game. That's it.
You know,
I
when
disagree with you.
when the Bears beat who was it? The Panthers. The Panthers. Was it the
Oh
Panthers?
my God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last victory that the Bears have.
Jacksonville. No, it was Jacksonville. It was Jacksonville. Where Caleb threw for 300 and everybody was like, oh my God, this offense, Shane Waldron is the greatest thing. Yeah.
Yes, after they beat Jacksonville. Oh, yeah, that was the game in London. They came into the bye. And what this team also have done, even though those division games have been close, the games that you would have marked off as wins coming into this season, those games after that Washington game that they got beat the most by, right? You got beat the most by the Cardinals. You got beat
in the Patriots. In the Patriots.
But when the division came up, so that's the thing about division. A lot of times, let's take, for example, the Steelers have the Ravens number, right? It don't matter how good the Ravens are, the Steelers got their number, right? They always beat them. They probably didn't beat them 10 out of the last 13, whatever it is. But people sometimes play good in their division, even if they're maybe a bad team, like when Detroit was the bad team. They would be competitive in those games. They just find a way to lose those games eventually, right? So we're the Detroit Lions, the team that finds a way. And that's the only danger I worried about when we were tanking that year, that I understand the tank, but sometimes when you build that losing culture, even though those guys are gone, that culture becomes part of the atmosphere of that team. Where people come in, there's new players, there's new coaches, and you're still losing. Because I'm just using Detroit Lions. Look, they had like an 0-16 season. What with 2 different?
They did.
Yeah, so it was like, and those guys were good defensive coaches. They weren't good head coaches.
And they were competitive in those 16 games, strangely enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could go through some of those games where you could say, like the year when they had finally, the year before they, I think 2 years ago, Detroit probably won 2 games, 4 games, something like that.
I think they was 3-13.
3-13. Then the next year they won 7. Yeah, and this was all under Dan. Who's their coach? Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
Okay, that was Dan Campbell's first year. He won 3 games. His next year he won 7.
He was biting kneecaps though, right?
Yeah, kneecaps.
Exactly.
Last year they in the playoff.
But he's not biting kneecaps no more. He's taking out kneecaps now. He's taking out kneecaps right now. I'm telling y'all
something. Cutting kneecaps, man.
I'm telling y'all something. That Detroit team, They can score a lot of points. They can score a lot of points. But I'm gonna tell you something. That defense is still suspect. That defense is
Very
still
much so.
suspect,
But
man.
and they got a whole lot of injuries that are going to catch up to them.
The,
Especially we can
the
start talking about
defense is
deep in the
still
playoff.
suspect. Because I was watching Thursday night's game, and we getting totally off script. God,
We
I was
need
watching
to.
Thursday night. I was watching Thursday night. We ain't got nothing else to talk about, right? I was watching Thursday night's game, Detroit and Green Bay, and I'm like, okay, we going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay they legit, but they not real yet. I watched Minnesota. I'm still waiting for Sam Darnold to turn into the pumpkin that I think he is. But because you have offensive weapons and you have a coach, and you have a coach,
A defensive coach, right?
it's no. Kevin O'Connell is an offensive minded coach. He's an offensive minded coach, and he has Sam Darnold, who flamed out as a first round pick for the Jets. Got drafted by went sent to Carolina and flamed out there. Went to San Francisco, it wasn't good there. But he has a coach in Minnesota right now that's allowing him to do what it is that he does best with the weapons that he has in JJ and Jordan Addison. And people sleep. I know wide receivers. People sleep. Jordan Addison is the real deal.
Yeah.
That team can make some noise. They really can, man. They really can.
Yeah. That's the mindset. And here's the thing. It hurts my heart to even say this, man, because I
Don't
think
say
I'm gonna
it,
need.
Don't say it.
Okay,
Don't say it.
I will say what I'm gonna
Don't
say,
say it,
but I'm
guy.
gonna use pseudonyms. I'll
Don't say
say
it,
this.
guy.
No matter what type of hamburger that you make, no matter what the ingredients look like, at the end, you
At the end of the
always think
day,
about the cheese. I'm just gonna say that because I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm looking at the Lions right now, and they've been, you know what, they've done their thing, but they've also been lucky with teams who are
yes,
doing
they
good
have.
like that. There's a lot
Yes,
of
they
luck in
have.
it. But there's
Yes, they
one
have.
team who's kind of had a little shakiness here, there, and they always have it. But at the end of the season, the playoff is just like this light comes on. And I'm like, oh, so I won't say their name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But it's like, it seemed like that almost every year. And it's like, I want us to be able to, the culture is one thing, but what's happening over with the Lions, Campbell is getting out here, getting these players to believe in themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to sit up here with your chest out, oh, I can do this. But when it's out of sight, out of mind, and you play because you know for a fact you can do it, it changes the whole timber of the squad. With our squad, we got a lot of guys like Jaquan Brisker who thinks he's better than he really is, but it's a little bit, but he's good. But we need the type of mindset where guys can come in there like now, like for like example, right now, we're saying we're losing. I know guys will play hard, but a lot of it is coaching, a lot of it is a player, but then with the culture, it's because a lot of these guys say they believe and they really don't.
Yeah,
I tell
I
you
think
what, Jaquan Brisker is a much better player than we give him credit for.
No, he is.
Because he's always gonna put it all out on the line. So
Well,
let's not
Let's put it
belittle
this
that
way.
guy.
He's
well,
like
I
he's
think he
like the
saw my Facebook post. I think he saw my Facebook post
yeah.
and actually was like, "Jay, I'm gonna prove you wrong," because I, you know, I, I, I was really like, Jaquan Brisker, you think you better than? And after that,
Mhm,
and I'm just saying, after
mhm,
that, he had really played really well
mhm.
before this concussion. Unfortunately, this is third concussion in 3 years, and we don't know what that's going to
Yeah,
look like
he plays
We
hard.
don't
beyond this
know how
year.
many he had in college
Yeah,
either.
yeah,
So
But
yeah.
what I
yeah,
will say, I'm equated to this. Jaquan Brisker is the drummer for Earth, Wind, and Fire. He is lights out as a drummer. But sometimes he's got the propensity to leave the drum kit. Here, give me that mic. Give me that mic. And it's like,
I got
you go
nothing.
back, and the thing is, if he gets on the drums, but I mean, like I say, sometimes guys, and it's not a disrespect to him because he's actually pretty good. The problem is sometimes guys shoot themselves in the foot when they think like a certain, not just think that they're great, but there's certain things they think they can do, and really they don't have the capabilities of doing it. It's okay with trying, but within a team thing, your objective is whatever you bring and you're great at, we need to accentuate that. And every time that he comes outside of that, he has a problem. But like right now, I think as far as his whole thing is great player. I think he could have slowed up on some of the tackles because just like you guys said, that we don't know what happened in college. This dude hits hard, but you got to kind of rethink some things. If you had about he had 3 concussions in the pros?
3
Yeah.
concussions in 3
You got
years.
to rethink that because we ain't even talking about football no more. We talk about, are you going to be able to articulate a sentence 2 years after you retire?
Yeah,
And
I think, Jerry made a good point
and
about
whoever that was said, okay, go ahead, Bernard.
what Jerry mentioned about.
Good point.
Shout out to you, Jerry. They need to do better scouting and player development. I do think, you got to develop these players. At some point, Tyler Scott has to get in the game today.
You're right. 100% correct.
Yes.
Before this season over, he's been inactive every game. Signing Kenan Allen was not the excuse to not play Tyler Scott at all.
Right.
Tyler
Different
Scott,
skill sets.
correct.
Right.
He was
Again,
some kind of time on the field. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Again, to me, which is what the point that I was trying to make when I was talking about the Shane Waldron effect. How all of a sudden Tyler Scott played a lot last year. How all of a sudden Tyler Scott ain't in the mix this year, even with Keenan Allen?
Right.
How does Tyler Scott not in the mix? I don't understand it. But again, like I said, it stems from going up and down the ladder. You had Shane Waldron who wanted Gerald Everett, who we gave 2 years, $12 million. This dude making $6 million a year. How many? I think I saw him on the field one time today,
and that was too many times too.
And he was going in motion, and I'm like, okay, you're not even relevant, but he wanted this guy on the team. So it just trickles down. It trickles down to so many things. Like Shane Waldron did this. Shane Waldron was kind of like the whole Greg Olsen thing, when Mike Mark came and was like, we don't need Greg Olsen.
Oh my God!
Don't remind me of that, man. I was in a bad mood already.
So it's all about decisions that this organization has made, and I know I'm happy because we're not even talking about the loss, and I'm happy that we're having this conversation because we're not talking about the loss. But it goes down to decisions that this organization has made that has not been good for the organization.
You're starting to sound like Thanos now. You talk real calm, and it sounds like he's got a soothing voice, but some of the stuff you say is scary, bro.
As we say in the hood, while he around, we got to keep our head on a swivel, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. It's, I love this organization so bad. It is sad because that loss after the Green Bay game, when we walked out of this stadium, I told one of our tailgate guys, I was like, I almost cried. I almost cried because I love this organization that much. And they don't put out the love for us that we have for them. And that's the thing that hurts. That's the thing that hurts, man. It hurts. It really does.
Yeah, this team doesn't have right now. They don't have any dogs. They don't have any excitement. You know what? The most exciting you see from this team is when Caleb completes a pass and he's pumped up. That's, to me, that's the most excitement that you see in this team. Everybody else is kind of dead. They're not even cheering each other on. They're just kind of, I should say wrong when he caught the passes today. But the most part, even when they lack speed on defense. When I say speed on defense, I mean the pass rushers. They cannot get to the quarterback. They look like they're running in sand. You see teams where the guy come in and you see a quarterback get rocked. Our guys look like they're, guy steps up, avoid them, throw the ball. In every game, there's at least a 25 to 30-yard bomb that's going to happen. There's going to be a 25 to 30-yard run that's going to happen. Our quarterback is going to get hit often. We're going to have a couple of drops. You know what? You had since Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and this the best game plan you can come up with?
Got a point.
Man, and that's sad. And that's sad. But see, a great coach knows the players that he has, and he can look down. Sometimes a coach who's kind of over their head and really doesn't understand how to manage the offense and defense, like manage players and men. A guy like Tyler Scott gets lost in the shuffle. I've seen, like I said, with Greg Olson, Greg Olson, us as Bears fans, and I mean, we of course didn't have that show back there, but I would imagine individually when they were doing what they were doing with Greg Olson, I'm like, dude, y'all got a doggone dog here. You let him sit up like that, really? And to say we look fast forward now, we still Bears fans. You gotta love the Bears for us to still be here, because I'd
There's
probably
no
be a
reason.
Steelers fan now.
There's no reason why Tyler Scott should not see the field.
That's
I,
true.
I just don't understand it. I just
I agree.
don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, because there's nobody else, Jay, that could take the top off of a defense other than him. The other guys,
I think
other guys
Doomsday,
don't have-
Doomsday can.
He's
well,
big and
well,
strong,
he
too.
doesn't.
But he's in the mix.
He's in the mix.
Doomsday is in the mix.
He's in the
But when
mix.
you talk about if you want to go 4 wide receivers, I can't understand how Tyler Scott is not in the mix.
Yeah, and I'm talking about taking off where a guy just runs straight.
Yep.
And you just throw it under
Fly.
him. Most of them need a little time to get in gear. I mean, like Roman's not going to outrun D-backs, right? He has good 40 speed, but he's not just going to just outrun you. DJ,
He's not raw speed, right?
correct, it's not raw speed. DJ is good on the deep route, but he's not going. It's going to be a contested catch.
Right.
Kenneth Allen making great short catches, but he looked like Plank said, he's carrying a refrigerator on his back.
It's heavy, bro.
Yeah.
Every time he catch it, he's falling. Every time he's catching, he's falling.
He
Like
remind me of that guy in that commercial. I'm having chest pains. And you're right, but then you look at, you know what, and I hate to keep going back to great teams because we watch a lot of football, and I remember when we would look at certain teams, like when we were we're really bad now, but when we couldn't even move the football, and we're talking about we're getting tired of seeing simple stuff that they can't do, and we'll look at a team that's fair at another game, and they have no problem doing it, you know. But with Keenan, I think I got a feeling Keenan's probably going to end up going back to the Chargers. He said his choice is going to be between the Chargers and them, but I would say, fine. Man, give my guy Scott out there. Give him a chance because, like I said, he could blow the roof off. Who knows? You might put him in there one game, and not only just a skill thing, but it might be lucky that he may get a couple touchdowns. And now it changes his whole eyes. Now you putting him in the mix with two big. You got your big boy Doomsday. You got our stud and more, and then you get the dude that can blow the roof off. Now you change that whole who we gonna double type situation.
It makes perfect sense to us. I don't understand why we're not doing it. So
I don't know. It's the Trustman effect, man. We were shell shocked.
Jay, I
learned.
can't hear you.
oh, that's who you was referring to, Jay.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Jay.
Oh, Jay. He's
Yeah,
speaking
we
at
really don't hear
Thanis.
that at all.
Uh-oh. You're off again.
Maybe your
We can't
plug
hear
came
you.
out. Check your mic and see if it came unplugged.
Yeah, he's speaking at Thanos right now. He's doing that mind control.
He's snapping his finger,
He
eliminating half
he
the
can make
NFL
reality of whatever he wants.
Yeah, people gonna make him mad, and they gonna wake up in a bed full of sugar cookies. Like what the? Where I get this from? Are you there, Jay? Oh no, his
Can't hear you.
vocals are gone.
Let me see. On my side, it shows look like you okay on my side.
He might have to reboot the system.
Or he might.
There you go.
He'll be back.
Okay,
Yeah,
hey,
man.
you know what? Y'all mentioned. I know we ain't really talked about the game itself because not much.
What was there to talk about?
But y'all mentioned earlier about having a good head coach. I agree with that because I think what the Bears have did since George McCaskey taking over is they just did the opposite of what they was doing with the previous coach. You fired Lovey.
Yep.
You hired Trestman, who's an offensive coach. Then your defense get bad. Then you hire John Fox, who's a defensive coach, because now you figure you need a defensive coach. Then you fire Fox and you hire an offensive coach, Nagy, because now you figure you need to have some offense. Then you fire Nagy, and then you hire a defensive coach and Matt Eberflus. So if the Bears keep following that trend, all they're gonna do is they'll hire an offensive coach. That doesn't mean it'll be a good offensive coach. They just hire somebody that's opposite of what, and that's the danger sometimes when you listen to the fans, and that shows how George McCaskey said he's a fan. We don't need a fan. We need an owner that understands his business, because fans will say stuff like anybody is better than the guy we got now. That doesn't mean you're gonna improve.
Right.
Right.
You're supposed to be trying to look for the best available guy, not just anybody will be better than the person we got. That doesn't equate to more wins.
I'll tell you what McCaskey's problem is. He is the hurt girlfriend syndrome. So whatever the last boyfriend looked like, you want something entirely different than what he was. If the last one was 6'2", you want somebody 5'4" this time, because you think that's gonna change your overall result. And that's the problem with the McCaskies. They think if they make this one tweak or one change, it's gonna make the difference. And the other thing that's happening with them is they are so strong, with their, we need to be buttoned up and we need a coach to look a certain way, to act a certain way. Sometimes you need people that are live wires. You gotta, they're going so far against a coach with personality. They don't want Harbaugh because he's going to stand up and say something else. They don't want some of these other coaches that are good coaches, but they're a little bit too flamboyant and they're a little bit too confrontational. If you're an owner, you should care less. I want the coach that's going to get my team to win the most games. Period.
Right. But you know what I think? I think a lot of them was shell-shocked by the whole Lovey thing, because I saw for myself, and this is my assumption, I think when the whole thing with Lovey was there, Ted Phillips was coming down there and he was turning around and say, man, take your back up there. I don't care what you do. This is my team. I run my football team. You go up and take care of the money and I'll take care of the players. And they didn't like that talk back kind of guy. So they want somebody that's kind of in that slot. Because if we look at what's happening with polls and look at the coaches we have now, it's like at first it gave the impression that, okay, they're letting them do their jobs and it looks good. And now when you start peeling the layers off, you still start to see remnants of the McCaskies up in there. And until, I don't care who you put in there, as long as they have a piece of it, if we could build like a steel door and just weld it shut and just give them communication and leave them in there, we'll be okay. As long as they coming out telling them, I don't care who you put in there, just like you were saying, Plank, you could bring the lights out guy here. But sometimes all those pieces have to line up together and fit one congruent pieces, which is why we look at, say, Tom Brady. I personally, like I say, he's my GOAT. If Tom Brady wasn't played like he was played and drafted 199th, if it was drafted like, say, in the second or third round, he wouldn't be that guy, I don't think. Because remember, it's different.
We took Mark Trestman over Bruce Arians, who ended up being the coach of the year, winning Super Bowls, etc., because Bruce Arians was a little bit rougher and he used bad language when he's talking to players and things like that. So I'm like, I can care less.
That's why it's not always. I know people like to narrow it down to they're being cheap. It's not totally that. Is what you're saying.
No, I don't think it's cheap at all.
I don't think it's being cheap. It may have some aspects of it, but it's what you're saying. Like they want a certain type of guy, and for what I understand with Bruce Arians, what they wanted him to do a mock press conference, if I remember this correctly.
Like, whatever, man. I'll figure it out.
He was just like, I ain't doing that. Right? Why? Because they was worried about his presentation. Guess what? I don't even care if I get a coach out there that let out a few mother effers in the press conference. You got to keep it out. What do it matter if he's winning? You don't. Your teams don't have any fire since. Matter of fact, this team hasn't had any fire since the Lovie Smith days. That's the last time they really just had nasty players who kind of, had attitude on the field. Now it's all been kind of nonchalant attitudes and stuff like that. And in football, man, sometimes, I mean, like Briscoe has attitude. I'm not saying nobody has it, but your team doesn't have attitude. It's kind of like, I mean, even with Jenkins, he didn't got mellow. Like Plank said, he's not playing like a dog, but it's a chihuahua now.
He like on Ritalin, man. Instead of drinking a Gatorade, like
right? He was the guy that if somebody did
Pancake
something,
man,
Yeah, he would grab them, right? Maybe get a like pushing and shoving. They have guys now kind of like, hey man, what you doing off season, man?
Playing like Fat Elvis. Like I say, like as last week we talked about Fat, the old Elvis had all the moves, and when he got fat, it was like this. That's Jenkins. It's just like they play like, okay, let me do this and let me do that. But as you say, we could have Pigpen from the Peanuts be our head coach, and if he's great, I don't care if he's there. We make enough money to get gas masks to get the stench, but if the stench is only related to him and our football team is great, stink on, my brother.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, but
Man.
you're right though, man. We used to it, and it's sad that we have to go through this. It's like we've gone through so many different changes through our years of all of us being a little older and being Bears fans. We remember like the Dan Jiggins Bears, the Noah Jackson guys. We remember hearing about Bob Avellini and all that stuff. Remember the '85 Bears. We remember when we saw Tommy Harris come as a defensive tackle, like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Trace Armstrong. We could go through all the Bears players. But the one consistent thing is we go to the Super Bowl twice. We win one. We get Devin Hester to run a touchback on this now, a touchdown the next one, and we lose. You got teams that haven't even been around nearly as long as us, got 3 or 4 of them. And all we can do is we can hold our chest out and say we Bears fans, but we got to sit up in the equation like this because there's nothing we can say, and it's sad, man. I'm tired.
Well, that's why I can't help but take my hat off and kind of cheer for Detroit. I lived in Detroit for 8 years, and to see them even being competitive, they one of the teams that's never played in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And prior to Super Bowl era, Detroit used to be a juggernaut as far as winning championships and everything. So
right.
I don't ever want them to beat us, and I don't hate them as much as I hate Green Bay, but I dislike Detroit as well. So
I think what happened, and I was thinking about the Bears and Detroit and teams like that where they had championships into the Super Bowl era. One of the things I say, not dismissing anybody championship, it was about 10 teams, I think, 10 to 12 teams in the league, right? And you didn't have salary caps and all those type of things, and pretty much you were stuck on with no free agency. So if a team was good, you just stuck on that team. And what the Super Bowl era brought was the AFC and merging with the NFC. And I think at that point you brought in, it went up to about 24 teams, I believe, in the 60s. Then they added 2 teams every couple of years. After that time, teams like Detroit, the Bears, and even for a while, Green Bay struggled, right? Green Bay struggled through the 70s. Green Bay was the only one of those kind of, I shouldn't say the only one, but one of the few that kind of, from the NFC days, that clicked, because I want to say like Dallas and some of them teams were newly created teams like in the 50s or 60s, and they came right at the end of, right before the Super Bowl era started. Those teams kind of right like 60, 59, somewhere up in there. That's when some of those teams came and they became dominant. And if you look at it right early on, it was other Green Bay winning, I think the first one, or KC and some of them was the dominant teams. Then it was Pittsburgh and Dallas, right, who were kind of dominating. But the Bears have not adjusted to the modern formula to winning in this current NFL. And until they're able to do it, it's just gonna be frustrating watching them. But anyway, I want to get it.
You got a point with that. The AFL NFL merger. Those teams in the AFL were pass happy. They scored a lot of points. You could see a wide open football game. You had the San Diego Chargers. You had like Daryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber. So it was a different brand of football. Whereas the NFL at the time was always 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And we still fighting that fight a little bit today. So that was the only point I wanted to make. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Bernard.
Oh, yeah, I just to say I wanted to get them grades, maybe move to the grades, start wrapping up. Offensively, I'm going to give the Bears offense today at F. I mean, there's nothing else you really could say. They really didn't do much right. They end up getting 2 scores. I'm glad Caleb was able to get out of the game injury free. Glad to see Rome made a few catches. I like to see them highlight Rome and commit more going forward, and get DJ's catches or whatever. But I want to see some play up development more than trying to get somebody 1,000 yards receiving.
Right.
I got any grades yet offensively?
I'll go. Offense, F. You gave up 7 sacks on the quarterback. You got one first down in the first half. Second half, you came back in. You still ended up giving up, a fumble by Caleb or what have you. So we never got into a flow. We were never offensively a thing where there was any chance that it was going to be a competitive game. So I can't help but give the offense an F, and that means head coach, offensive coordinator gets an F. For his effort with a couple extra days to prepare for this game.
Well, I'm going to sound like the jilted person. Well, it's not just you. It's only you. So y'all ain't seen this in 5 years. And the reason why it ain't even, I give them the finger. Finger starts with an F. I give him F. That was not good. I have not much to say.
Oh man, hey, watching the defense today, man. Bears defensively always been a bread and butter. Even going back to the 70s, when you watch a team, early 70s, when you had Gale Sayers and Dick Buckets, who both came out in the same draft in the 60s, they lost a lot of games. They didn't win a lot of games, even though both of them are Hall of Fame players. But you always knew the Bears was going to play good defense all year long.
And they're going to play hard.
Yeah, they're going to play hard. They're going to play good defense. And Lovie Smith picked up that tradition. And they had a good defense in 2018 and a couple of them here and there in recent years. But today, I'm going to say officially, they have nothing to hang their hat on defense. I'm going to give the defense an F as well.
I'm pretty sure they got their hat taken. So
they got bullied.
They was walking around with no hat. I give the defense this grade because they gave up about as much defensive effort as going through a sheet of paper. I'm giving the defense an F as well. They got one pick from Jonathan Owens. Simone Biles' husband. A couple times I saw one play where he actually ended up making a tackle against his own player. So, I was like, you clearly do not know what you're doing out there. But defensively, we had no passion. Again, we had the other team's offensive players running down the field free on several opportunities, and that's not what we're used to from a Chicago standpoint. So F. Bad job, Frat.
They did not get their cap snatched because they didn't have them. The joke was on them. 49ers actually went up to the wig shop and got them all Hawaiian silkies. Not Hawaiian silky, but Hawaiian silkies. And every time they touched the ball, they had one designated person just grab it and just snatch the wig off. They got their wig snatched today. I give them an F as well, too.
Okay, another F. Hey, this was funny watching this game today. At some point, they showed the brackets of teams that's in the playoff. The wild. They showed the team in the hunt, and the Bears was the last team listed as being in the hunt. No, they're not in no hunt. They was being hunted. So
yeah.
No, they roadkill now.
That's what you put out there for them to get a bigger prey. So,
but doesn't that go back to the whole thing?
Who's not coming back next year for sure is the special teams coach.
Hightower.
I can say that for sure. He's not coming back. I don't know about everybody else. It's too many undisciplined plays. I mean, come on, man. Dude runs down there today and hit a dude that can't catch the ball. You gonna get some fluky stuff. In this losing streak, you have gotten some fluky from the special teams.
Yep.
Nearly every game. You done got blocked punts. You done got holding. You done got guys illegal procedure on kickoffs.
Yep.
You done got some fluky. You done got the guys that let the ball bounce and hit them. You done got the ball where a guy don't feel the ball, and now they on the 1 yard line on the last possession of the game. Come on.
Well, to your point, I thought it was interesting. DeAndre Carter returned a kickoff, and right after that, he got hurt. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, and I'm looking at the replays and everything. I'm like, that didn't look that bad. But DeAndre Carter has been scared to return a kick since a couple games ago when he fumbled. So that's got to be on a high tower as well. If he's scared, if he's not out there and able to do returns, you need to take him out the game. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Find another
Hightower is
guy
high.
that can return.
Hightower is high.
So
You
I
ever
would
see a
give
guy-
special
yeah.
teams an F2, just so
F2.
you know.
Yeah, they might as well. You know what? Misery loves company. So it wouldn't be right if I threw everybody up under the bus and let them stand. They get an F2. I get the mascots the F. I give the vendors the F. I give the weather F because it was 69. Everybody gets the F today, including
Hey,
me. I get an F because I ain't drinking. I'm drinking coffee.
The bus has room, trust me. So you talking about running go over the bus? It's enough room to put some more people up under there
They're
too.
gonna get back on the bus made from Fisher Price, man.
You know, I don't know about even bringing him on the team. He has really, other than the first game, I'm sorry, what's his name? DeAndre
Carter.
DeAndre Carter. Other than the first game, I think it was the first game when they was trying to use him as a primary receiver, which I had no reason understand why they was doing that. Or maybe that was the second game because Kennan missed the second game or something like that. I don't understand that. Other than that, that has not been a good signing for the Bears. He has really contributed. I mean, he had like 1 or 2 decent kickoff returns, but at the most part, I got to give him credit for the one game where he kind of got them in position where they right near the end of the game, they was able, I think that was the Vikings game. He had a good return, but hell, that was after
he fumbled.
Didn't he get injured today? Didn't he have something go? Didn't he have an injury? His feelings was hurt.
That's what Blake said. Yeah, looked like nothing happened.
It's like he got hit in the head, and they went and did a CAT scan. The CAT scan did a brain scan, and it shows nothing.
Offensive line coach gets the same grade as the offense, an F. If anytime the offensive line gives up 7 sacks, that's an F.
Who would ever thought that we'd be sitting up here playing spin the bottle with Fs? We just spin it. It's like,
hey,
okay,
you get an F. You get an F.
You get an F. You get an F. We get an F. But then, like I say, man, we got to laugh to keep from almost crying, man. It's just,
Yeah.
It's bad, man. It's almost like being a drug addict, man. We sitting up here trying to kick this Bears habit, and we keep coming back. And guess what? It'd be the same drugs, and the drugs be real bad.
Yeah, because well, after a performance like this today, I'm not sure how do these coaches get these how do they get these players? I'm sorry, not coaches, get these players up and ready to play the Vikings next week. I think that's who they're playing. Yeah, the Vikings. And
when you got pride.
But how do they get these players up to play after a performance like this? I mean, absolutely. No math that they could do now would even get them in any type of playoff scenario. And they really just dumped on themselves today. And,
they need the block.
I think it's easy to get the players up and ready to play this game because you go to the players, you say, look, you can tell this year is not going where we thought it was going to go. Next year, chances are it's going to be a whole different team. A lot of you guys ain't going to be here. So the best thing you can do is go out there and play hard and try to get your film out there and your tape out there so somebody else might want to pick you up next year. So there's no guarantee that you're going to be on this team.
You have to be a professional. And I think people don't really understand the whole dynamics of being a professional football player. People think it's just about catching balls and all that stuff. You can tell who the dogs are. They show up. They about their business. I don't care if they haven't won a game. They play just as hard as if they in the Super Bowl. When the game is over, and like say, this is the indicator. You can tell the professional players who you don't have to worry about in that respect, or you have to worry about getting them up when they got a team. They got to go play the Miami Dolphins in the middle of the wintertime. And these dudes show with their briefcases and their suits. They go out, maybe have lunch or dinner with their friends. They go back. It's all about the football. It's not hard to get them up if they're willing. You know, some guys may be checking out mentally, like I said, maybe making reservations and stuff, but what they need to do is all of them sit, look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, what did I do today? You know, am I a professional athlete? They all need to basically play every game that they play in as if it's somebody sitting right outside there waiting to get in and taking a spot. You got to have some pride, man.
I know we went a little long today.
Yeah.
We're probably about 30 minutes over than I normally.
Yeah, but I feel better, Bernard. So good. Thank
I
you.
do too.
We needed some therapy. I know we didn't do a pregame as well, and this season has probably been the most frustrating because they have more talent than they've had in previous years, but they haven't been able to put it together for multiple reasons. But it shows that talent alone don't make you a winner. That's why you could look at the Bengals offense. The Bengal offense is prolific.
Yep.
I don't know what they did today, but Joe Burrow's coming into this weekend had about 27 touchdowns. What's that team won? 3 games or something like that? Yeah, their defense is bad, and right now we're kind of trending like them, where you really didn't fix the offensive line. The defense got worse for them, and it shows in one sense. It doesn't matter how many receivers you have, and those, you know, you still got to be able to stop the run and be able to run the ball. That's the 2 basic things of football. If you can't stop the run, you're going to have problems because the passing game becomes much easier when the team can run on you. Yep. And if you can't really run effectively, then you have, like in a game like this, when a team scores twice on you quickly, you can't go to running to slow the game down and grind it out and get first downs and go the distance to kind of slow that team down, because when your defense can't stop a team, at least if you can run the ball, you slow down the amount of possessions they have. But if you have to keep passing, your 3 and out just mean now is another score that's going to happen real quick by the other team.
You know what, they had the mentality just like today with the Minnesota Vikings when they came in. They just kept going back. Atlanta was coming back, scoring. They would score. Vikings was like, all right. They put their foot off the brakes, and I went back about 20, 25 minutes. I come back, I'm like, how they go from 21 to 42 points that fast? We don't have that luxury, man. We go from 0 points to 4 yards. We got
what happened to Jay lost his connection. So that's why Jay wasn't able to join back on the broadcast. But man, I know Jay, we let you get out. You know, you snapped your finger.
His anger fried the circuit breaker in the house.
No, the wife put him back in the corner. His wife sat him back in the corner and put him back in his straight jacket and gave him his little sippy cup. He all right. He'll be all right. He'll be back, y'all. Jay is good, y'all.
There you go.
Hey, y'all got anything else before we close for the night?
I'm just glad I ain't got to see this again. I actually, since I was a little kid, whenever the Bears lose, it takes me at least 24 hours before I can be happy and smile and be myself again. So I'm kind of in that same funk. It actually physically bothers me when they lose.
It does physically bother me, but I'm able to get over it because when I was a kid and everybody used to talk about Santa Claus, I figured out we got a slim chimney. Ain't nowhere in the world he gonna fit down. So I can laugh at it to keep from crying, because guess what? As angry as I could be and as much as I talk trash, until they put me 6 feet under, I'm still gonna be a Bears fan. A suffering one, but still a Bears fan.
Hey, thank everybody who tuned in tonight, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to Bears Banter. We know they haven't had a great season like most of us anticipated or wanted. Those who actually are Bears fans who was hoping for a good season. It's been a disappointing season, but hey, maybe at one point we are going to turn it around. I mean, I would love to see some wins going down the stretch. I just don't see it happening.
Look, we from Chicago. We done fired the hockey coach, the baseball coach for both baseball teams. We're going to get rid of the Bulls coach. whoever else trying to coach in Chicago, you better keep
Sky
your head
coach.
on the swivel.
Chicago
Sky
Sky.
Teresa Weatherspoon got fired. Everybody getting
Right.
fired in Chicago. I hope I go to work tomorrow and have a job.
Right.
You and me both.
Right. Everybody in the city
Firing
gets fired. Everybody unemployed.
Getting fired in Chicago is trending right now. So if I tap that thing in my elevator and it don't work, I'm just gonna turn around and go home, man.
Yeah, they finally got me. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, until Friday, peace.
Deuces.